Okay, part two of the Pokemon Ranked series. We are moving today onto Generation 2. One of my favorites in terms of the actual game itself. I played a lot of Pokemon Gold as a kid. I actually had a bugged Pokemon Gold cartridge on my original Game Boy, so I was never able to save the game. So, yeah, I never beat it much as a kid, or at all as a kid, because I could never beat the game all in a single sitting. But I did have a bugged cartridge, so I do not know many of the late game Pokemon in this game because I have not been there many times. But once I was older and bought a Game Boy Advanced, and I would then bought an actual working cartridge and was able to play the game fully. So I have beat the game now, but it took an incredibly long time. So I've only beat it in its full entirety once, but I have beat the first half of it maybe 40 to 100 times of that. Like, I played this game religiously as a kid, same as Pokemon Red. I was just unfortunately not able to save the game. Yes, just skimming this now, I know about 3/4 of these Pokemon. I recognize all of them, but in terms of actually knowing what they're called, or having used them before, a fair chunk of these I do not know as much as Generation 1, and a few of them I don't know if I've ever actually caught before. So, without further ado, let's dive into the tier list. If you watched the previous one, you may be intrigued to see what I put here as my first one. It had some very strange picks for S and God tier. Okay. So, Chikorita, the grass starter of the Hoenn region, I believe it's called. I do like Chikorita a lot. Let's just move up a bit. Chikorita, I'd say, is in A tier. I do like Chikorita. One of my favourite grass starters in terms of the first evolution. Just think it's adorable. Reminds me a bit of a Pikmin from Pikmin. One of these is called Bayleaf. I'm not entirely sure what the other one's called. I think it is quite a big step down. I'll probably put that in mid, and then that one probably below that in mid as well. I do think its evolutions are a step down. It's essentially the same thing, just not as adorable looking. It keeps the exact same body shape. It just gets a really weird plant around it. It kind of loses a lot of the charm, I feel. And then Cyndaquil, my second favorite of the two starting choices. I do like Cyndaquil. I don't know if I like it as much as Chikorita in terms of first evolution. Its second evolution, I can never remember the name of it. I remember it's called Cyndaquil something and then Typhlosion. I can never recall what its second evolution is called. I probably like it more than Bayleaf, but just not quite out of mid tier. I don't really like it too much. And then Typhlosion, I do like Typhlosion quite a bit. I'd say Typhlosion is a slight step up from Cyndaquil, but not quite as good as Chikorita. The starters in Gen 2, I do like them, but I definitely don't like them as much as the starters in some of the other generations. To be fair, until we get to Totodile, this might be controversial, but in my opinion, Totodile is the best out of the three starting choices. It's very rare I pick water in one of the gens. I think this might be the only generation where I do pick water. But something about Totodile I really liked. I don't really like the fire or grass types as much as Totodile. Totodile, for a first evolution especially, is just a perfect starting evolution Pokemon. Croconaw, I believe this is called. That might be the other one. Like it, decently. Not as much as some of these, but I like it. Actually, to be fair, I'll probably put Typhlosion a bit below Cyndaquil. It looks a bit like Bowser. About there, and then evolution after that, I'd say I'd put a bit higher than Typhlosion, but not much higher. And yeah, that's it for the starting Pokemon. Definitely nowhere near as highly ranked as the previous generation, but overall fine. Like, actually thinking about it, I don't really. Typhlosion I wasn't that impressed with. I don't really like the look of Typhlosion. It's not very flamey for a flame Pokemon, except for the back. I'll probably drop Typhlosion down to a beta. Okay, yeah, that should roughly be the final places for the starters. Okay, Sentret and Ferret, I believe they're called. Sentret I like. It's a high mid, I'd say. I like the design of Sentret. I just don't like it in combat or any versatility. I just like the overall look. And then its evolution is about the same. I don't think I like it quite as much. About there, I'd say. And then a Hoot and Noctowl. I recently used this Pokemon properly for the first time in a Pokemon playthrough. So it's my first time properly using it in combat. It was quite decent. It wasn't great, but it was pretty good. High mid, I'd say, for Hoot. I do like the Hoot line. And Noctowl, I like slightly more than Hoot Hoot, but still not an incredible amount. Ah, what are you called? I remember these, I just never used them. Something Bug or Ladybug, I think it's called. That sounds familiar. Yeah, this is a very mid. It's, yeah, to put it like low mid, and then that, I really don't like the look of this. It doesn't even look like a Pokemon, it looks a bit more like an alien. I'll probably put that in D tier. Spinarak, I like Spinarak. Spinarak's quite a nice Pokemon. Probably put it a low, mid, or like a mid. And then, what is this Pokemon called? I really like it, I can just never remember its name. Something Rantula. Arantula? I can't remember. It's called something to do with that. I like it quite a bit, I'd say that's probably the peak of mid. Haven't really used it in combat much, so I can't really put it much higher. It might be a B tier, to be fair. It's quite a nice Pokemon. Yeah, around there. Crobat. I do really like Crobat. Yeah, I'd probably put Crobat at the height of B tier. Actually, no, I'd put Crobat a bit higher than the mid evolution of that. I had a shiny version on Pixelmon that I do not have a picture of now, but it is bright pink. It is pink as anything. Lantern and Chinchou? Is this called Chinchou? I know that's called Lantern. Did recently use it for the first time in Sword and Shield, or at least like catch it and have it in my party for a little bit. Do like that it's a water electric type. That is quite cool. Quite a nice matchup. This for a design is pretty bad. I don't really like it that much. You're a bit better, but still not great. But I'd probably put you a bit higher than some of these. About there. Pichu, the de-evolution of Pikachu. Is adorable. I like Pichu. High mid. I won't put it like higher than mid. I don't really use it much, but it is cool. Cleffa, the de-evolution of Clefairy. Again, another high mid. It's just an all-around alright Pokemon. It's designed quite well. It's just not that good in like combat situations. Bailey's better. That's a tough one. About there. Yeah, about there. Who are you then? I was thinking is that Igglybuff, but I don't think that's Igglybuff, is it? Who are you? I think this is Igglybuff. I'm gonna go under the assumption this is Igglybuff. I think it is. Wow. I did not find this in my copy of the game. It might not be in Pokemon Gold then. It might be a unique to Silver. If I didn't find it at all in my playthroughs of Gold. This might be one of the game locked uniques. I'll put it at the lowest mid just because I don't really remember it, but it has a cool design. Togepi and Togekiss. I really like this evolution line. Not really like, but I like it quite a bit. It's a pretty clean evolution line. Or at least it's a pretty clean starter. It has quite a cool role in the anime. Togekiss, I think... I don't like how it didn't really keep the eggshell, but it did factor into the design, so it was a bit cool for that, but still pretty mid. This generation as a whole didn't have too many really big standout Pokemon for me, like Generation 1 and 4 and a few of the other gens. Bit lower. I'd probably have it over that one. Yeah, about there. Natao and Skatao, I can't remember how you pronounce this one's name. It's Natao, and then I swear that's just Nanata, but with an accent. It's just a bird. It's not anything really cool. It's a very basic design. It is just a circle with a triangle beak. Bit higher than Ladybird, not as high as the starting evolution. I really don't like this Pokemon. Less than that. I should probably put that in E2. Really don't like that Pokemon. It has a really just dumb design in my opinion. Mareep. I actually really like Mareep. Mareep would go quite high up for me. Don't know what it is about Mareep. It's just always been quite a nice electric type to me. Fluffy. I do also like Fluffy as well. Fluffy is quite good. I won't put it as high as these, but Fluffy is not a mid Pokemon. Ampharos. I believe you're called Ampharos. I do like you a bit more again, but not quite as high, I don't think. Bellossom, yeah, not a great Pokemon. I like it a bit more just because it was in Smash Bros. Brawl as one of the Pokemon you could throw out when you threw the Pokeball item, but apart from that, I don't really... No, it seems very useless. This one's probably going to be quite controversial. I really like this Pokemon. I'd put it in S tier. Marill and Azumarill are some of my favourite water Pokemon. I use them pretty much every time I play through Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. I don't know what it is about them. They're not even that good in combat stats wise. They're actually terrible, but I always go with looks and my personal feelings over what's actually good in the game in pretty much anything I play. So these for me are a very good evolution line. They're shinies as well as some of the most beautiful shinies I've seen. I would probably put Azumarill at the height of S tier. Depending what else I put in God tier, I might bump it up to God tier, but that might be controversial. I don't know that many people that really use this Pokemon, but I've just always had a spot for it. I don't know what it is. I like it. I like how it has kind of like a fizz, kind of watery kind of look to it. It's just a very clean design, very clean. Sudowoodo I've always liked the idea of, but I've never really used the Pokemon a whole lot. I like that it's a tree that you've got to get a special item to get rid of, and then you have a few chances to catch it in the game. Design-wise, I think it's cool, like a little derp tree-looking thing, but I don't know. I didn't use it very much, if at all, in the games. Lotad. I always forget this Pokemon exists. I don't like what they did to the evolution line. Bit higher than Bellossom, so I'll probably put it in a D tier. Hoppip, to be fair, I'll probably put this in bargain bin. I just hate this whole evolution line. Still bargain bin, probably even worse than Hoppip. I can't seem to swap. There you go. Don't like Hoppip and its evolution. They're just very bad. This is a bit better, but still not great. Put it about there. Yeah, as a whole, just that whole evolution line, is very like throwaway. Apom, I completely forgot it was introduced in that generation. For some reason, I thought that was Generation 4. Apom I really like. I don't know what it is. I never really use it, but I really love its design. Its shiny's really cool. I loved it in the anime. It's just a really cool Pokemon. Probably put it a bit higher than Crocorack. I don't... Smoke Crack. I'll probably put it about there. I don't know what Pokemon that other one's called. Sunflora, and is this Seedot? I don't think this is Seedot. I remember this being like the lowest stat Pokemon of the generation. I've seen a lot of YouTubers do like stupid runs of the game where they only are allowed to use this thing. It's pretty bad. Design's pretty bad. Combat stats are terrible. Sunflora, I really like the design of, but it's still a really bad Pokemon combat-wise, so I put it about there. Yanma, I did recently get a shiny Yanmega in Pokemon Arceus, and it is actually a... what they call now? You know, like the rare enhanced versions of Pokemon that you can get that are incredibly big. I remember running past it. It was the first Yanmega I'd ever caught or seen in the game. I caught it, and it was added to the Pokédex for the first time as a shiny version. I've never actually caught the base version, so now the Pokédex in my Pokemon Arceus actually only shows the shiny version, because I've only caught the shiny version. But I caught a shiny of the evolved version of this, which is beautiful. I can't remember what I called it now. It's been a few months since I played Pokemon Arceus. I think I called it Cheesy Beans, but I don't know why. But for some reason, the phrase Cheesy Beans is coming to my head. So yeah, it has a soft spot just for the fact that I caught it in shiny form. Also, one of the Pokemon YouTubers I watch really adores this Pokemon, and they've not been able to catch it shiny for all the years they've been hunting, so I was very pleased when I saw a shiny one. High mid, I do like Yanma. Is it out of mid tier though? Probably not. Apart from the shiny, I don't really have much to say about it. Wooper, again, I just don't really like the Wooper evolution line. It's just a really meh looking Pokemon. Quagsire, I think, looks way too derp. I probably put that quite low as well. Espeon and Umbreon, two new evolutions. I really like the shiny of Espeon. I was thinking about going for a shiny Espeon at some point on Pokemon Sword and Shield. I'll probably put it a low mid, and then Umbreon now. Umbreon is a nice Pokemon. I have a shiny Umbreon on Pokemon Go. So that is also cool. Very clean overall, very clean design, very clean shiny. Better than that. Bit better than Cyndaquil. I don't know if I like it more than Chikorita. About there. I like Umbreon. Murkrow, one of my favorite flying types in all of Pokemon. I don't know what it is, I've just always really liked Murkrow. Probably won't put it higher than Totodile though, but I really like Murkrow as a really nice shiny. Was Honchkrow not introduced in this generation? Did they seriously only add the first evolution? Okay, that's strange. Yeah, Murkrow without evolving would be quite bad. I'm glad I didn't use it for this gen. Slow King looks a bit like Patrick from SpongeBob. Yeah, pretty meh. Don't really like it too much. No. Probably higher than Ferret. Mischievous, and they did not add its evolution either in this gen. This gen had a lot of first evolutions without actually adding an evolution line. Pretty good. Mischievous, I really like Mischievous's evolution line. It is pretty good. I'm using a Mischievous currently on Pokemon Shining Pearl, the remake of the original Pokemon Pearl. Don't like it as much as you. Like it more than you, about there. Unknown. I do like Unknown, to be fair. It's a cool concept having all the alphabet and stuff, so I'd probably put it near height of mid. Maybe the high mid. I've always liked it. I've kind of always wanted a shiny one just to see which letter I get. Wobbuffet in the anime is funny, but I still really hate it, like, game-wise and just overall design-wise. It's such a just boring design. Height of E tier, I'd say. Giraffig, this is for me is the definition of a mid Pokemon. It's fine. It's not got really anything wrong with it. It's just not the coolest, is it? About there. It's just a very meh Pokemon. Pineco? I think you're called Pineco. I had a shiny of this, I think, on Pixelmon. I vaguely remember having this in shiny. Just a very forgettable Pokemon. My brain's trying to remember it. I'm pretty sure it's called Pineco. Probably put it about there. It's not great. Wow, I do not remember what this is. I don't know its name. I'm recognizing the look a little. It's an alright look. I guess it looks like a bit like a water type. Maybe a water fire, I don't know. Yeah, probably bottom of F. Dunsparce, again, not a very good Pokemon. Gligar is alright. I've never used it, but I've never really had much against its design. I'd probably put Gligar at around... That's a tough one. Around there. Steelix. I'm alright with Steelix. I don't mind a Steelix. Probably put Steelix around there. Grubble and Loudowd, I can't remember what you're called. It's no to Grubble, I really don't like Grubble, put that in bagging bin. Bit higher than you, not as high as you. This looks like the dog from Wallace and Gromit. It's not the bottom of F tier. About there, it's just, I don't like it. Quillfish, I don't mind. Quillfish is also quite mid for a water type. Yeah, there's probably more mid to lower mid Pokemon in this generation, to be fair. This was a bad generation for me in terms of actual liking all of the Pokemon, but really fun in terms of the game itself. The game itself was great. Bit higher than Slowbro, I'd say. Don't think it's as high as Sentry. Yeah, about that. Ooh, Cypher's evolution Skizzer? I can't remember what this is called. Yeah, it's Cypher's, like, metal evolution, if I recall. Really, really cool design. I've never caught one, but I've always kind of wanted one. I've probably put that at quite a high B, to be fair. I should probably put that a bit higher than that. About there. Good A Pokemon. Shellos. Is this Shellos? No, not Shellos. Shuckle. Oh wait, no, this one had the worst stats of our Pokemon this gen. Yeah, I remember now. It was a Shuckle run, not a... C.run. Yeah, Shuckle has, I think, the lowest stats of any Pokemon in all of Pokemon, if I recall. It's been quite a while since I've checked stats of all the Pokemon, but if I recall, Shuckle is quite low. But this does give me an idea of doing a video on, like, my favourite Pokemon from each type. That could be quite cool. Shuckle, I actually like quite a bit compared to a lot of the mid Pokemon. I'm just trying to think where I'll put it in mid. Bit higher than you, bit higher than you. I don't know what it is about Shuckle, I just kind of like Shuckle a lot. I'll probably put it at the height of mid tier. It's not as good as Espeon, but I've always really liked Shuckle, I don't know what it is about it. Heracross is cool. Again, this was another Pokemon I thought was introduced in Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. Like the design, never used one on a team, which is true for a lot of Pokemon to be fair. I have gotten a lot better at trying all the Pokemon over the years. Whenever I play one of the games now, I usually try and force myself to use a team of Pokemon I've not used before. It's just a bit harder with the remix because they've gave permanent EXP share to all your Pokemon, which I absolutely despise because it kind of takes training out of it. And I don't really get a chance to use most of the Pokemon now because they share EXP, so by the time I get around to using them, they're already either evolved or a really high level and there's not really a need to train them. Which is a shame. I really hoped they updated it at some point to take out the EXP share, but as far as I'm aware, it's still in the game. Really sad. It actually makes me want to play the originals more. Otherwise, I would definitely like playing the remix more. Don't think I like it more than Mischievous. I do a bit. Not as good as the Spider. Sneasel, I don't know why I don't like this Pokemon much. Something in my brain says this looks exactly like the kind of Pokemon I should like. Like I really like Shadow the Hedgehog looking Pokemon. But another part of my brain just doesn't like it, and I don't know what it is about it. Yeah, about there. Ursaring and Pambear, something bear, I can't remember what you're called. Oh, it's Teddy Ursa and Ursaring, haven't they? Low mid, it's adorable, but it's not really got much going for it. I'd say it's about like there-ish. I don't really like it that much. So evolve form's cooler, but again, not that cool looking. Shiny one of it is pretty cool. I saw someone who had a shiny one of these. About there for the shiny one. I mean the number one. Oh, what are these called? I used one of these on an emulated randomized run. I called it Gary the Snail, but I'm trying to think. Slugma? I think it was Slugma. Slugma and then something else. I can't remember what the second one's called. Or if that one might be called Slugma actually. It's kind of like Muck, just a bit cooler than Muck in my opinion. Bit higher. About there, not that great. You're a bit cooler because of the shell and you've got at least a bit more detail to you. I do have a soft spot for most fire types. I do like fire types. About there. Swinub and Pillow-Swine. Again, this was another personal one where like I was trying to do an ice-only team on a server on Pixelmon. I kind of set up my own like gym and I was trying to do like an ice gym, but because we randomized the spin wheel of what Pokemon we were allowed to use and I was only allowed to use ice types and it was very hard for me to find ice Pokemon in that game because we didn't have an ice biome anywhere near us one. But eventually I found one. This was probably the first Pokemon I actually caught. So it gets some preps for that. But apart from that, I don't like it a whole lot. It's probably low mid. Pillow-Swine, I like a bit better. It's either called Pillow-Swine or Mammoth-Swine. Again, I like it, just not a whole lot. Corsola, I think you're called. Like your design, your shiny's cool. You're kind of like an Azumarill if Azumarill was pink. Yeah, about there. Remoraid, I don't mind Remoraid as a Pokemon. It's not bad. Very mid. It's an alright first evolution. Octillery, high mid I'd say. High mid. Alright Pokemon. God, this generation had a lot of mid looking back at it. High mid. Delibird, I like the present abilities, fun to use, but apart from that, not really got a whole lot going for it. Bit worse. Bit better than Slugma. Slugging. Ooh, this is the Pokemon Mantine. I believe this is Mantine, maybe Mantike. I can't remember which one the names were, but one of my favourite water types of the earlier games. I do like it quite a bit. I'd say this is the first B tier in a while. A bit better than Espeon. These. Yes. No. There you go, better. Mid-B. Are we going to have any god tier Pokemon in this gen, looking at it? You're the only one that's currently teetering for me on being like a god tier Pokemon. Skarmory, I've always thought I should like Skarmory, but I just don't. I don't know what it is about it. Everything about design-wise in my head tells me I should like it, but there's something in me is just telling me I don't like it much. It's better than these. I'd say it's a bit better than Delibird, not as good as Ursaring. Houndour and Houndoom, there we go, now we're back to some good Pokemon. Okay. Probably an S tier Pokemon, to be fair, I really like it. And then Houndoom I like a bit more, but not as much as Azumarill. A bit more than that. Not as much as Totodile, I don't think. Yeah, around there. They're both S tier, that's the first actual S tier in a while. Kingdra, very powerful Pokemon, quite a powerhouse in the game, but I never really used it much myself. But I'd definitely not say it's mid. About there. Fanfi and Donphan. Again, it's just a very mid. About there, I'd say. No, about there. Donphan, a bit cooler. Never caught one myself, but they are pretty cool looking. Quite powerhouses. About there. Porygon Z. The whole Porygon line I just don't like. They're very boring. This one's at least a bit cooler looking than the first, but still not that good. It's about there. Stantler, again, just a very meh Pokemon. I never catch it. I always thought it was really bad. About there. Oh yeah, the tail painting Pokemon. What are you called again? I don't know what you're called. It just looks like a really bad drawing of Grommet, just with paint on its tail. I'd probably drop that down to an E, less than that, less than you, less than you. No, a bit better than you actually, about there. Tyrogue, don't mind a Tyrogue. Do want to hunt for a shiny one of these on Shield just to get a shiny Hitmonchan. Mid, I'd say. A decent mid though. He's alright. I like fighting types. He's an alright fighting type. Top spin, Beyblade, I can't remember your name. Hitmon spin, Hitmontop, there you go. Something to do with spin. Hitmontop. Don't like the design of Hitmontop at all, if I'm being honest. Cooler than maybe Wooper. Actually, no. Just a really ugly design. Its eyes are disgusting. Its color scheme doesn't work at all. It's blue and brown. They're not really colors that good either. Bit worse than Stantler. Actually, I'd say a bit worse than Pineco. Bit better than Wobbuffet. Oh yeah, Smoochum. No. It's a disgusting Pokemon. Yeah, I'd probably leave it all the way down at the bottom. Electrokid. Electrokid as president. Alright design. Nowhere near as cool as its evolutions, but fine looking. About there. Just a bit. Actually, fair. I'd probably swap those two around. Giraffe's not as cool as Corsola. This is cooler than Giraffe. Yeah, about there. Actually, I really can't decide between these two. These two are very torn for me. I'll leave them there, but they're basically evil. Even. Magby. Don't mind it. I really don't like its head, but apart from that, it's cool. I would have rather its head just be round, maybe with little ears. Bit worse than Delibird, bit worse than Slowking, bit worse than Furret. Bit worse than Cleffa, worse than the evolution. Listen to this. Piloswine. Probably rather have it over a Remoraid a little. Miltank. I actually like Miltank. Miltank's cool. Low B, I'd say. Miltank's quite a nice Pokemon. Blissey. Don't mind a Blissey. Blissey's a decent overall. Looking in terms of design. Probably put it about there. Yeah, around there. Raikou, Entei, and Suicune. For some reason, I could not remember Raikou's name for a second. Believe this one's Raikou, Entei, and Suicune. Raikou, my least favorite out of the three, if I'm being honest. For a legendary, it's cool looking, but I put it at a low B. I know a lot of people really like this Pokemon, but I've never really liked the design. It's alright. It's a fine legendary. And then Entei, I like a lot. Entei, I like a lot better. I like the brown and red mix. Higher than you for sure. Higher than you. I really like Apom, but higher than you. Crobat, Croconaw, Cyndaquil, Umbreon, Chikorita. Height of A, I don't think I like it as much as Houndour, but height of A. Suicune, I like a little less than Entei, but I'd still put it high up. I do like Suicune's overall design. Higher than Sudowoodo, not as high as Mareep. That's probably going to annoy a lot of people. Lavatar, and Tyranitar, I think are the names. I know you're Tyranitar. One of you is Lavatar. I can't put my name on what you're called unless that one's Lavatar. Is this Lavatar? Dunno. Mid for the first evolution. I don't like the weird eye paint around its eyes. Where would I put you? Lower. There. This design, I really do not like this design. It's a really ugly second stage. Doesn't look remotely like it's any of its evolution line. It kind of is a taint on the entire evolution line. They should have went with a more like Charmeleon but green looking design, I think, for the second evolution. That would have made a lot more sense and looked a lot cooler. I do like how this kind of armor piece goes to like the chest plate of its evolution, but apart from that, it's pretty bad, if I'm being honest. It's just not a good Pokemon. About there. I really hate this thing. Just most stuff's hiding this. Tyranitar might be a hot take. I'm not that big of a fan of Tyranitar. I know a lot of people love this Pokemon, but it's a low B for me. It's better than mid, but I just don't really like its design. For a powerhouse, I like them normally looking cooler. And then the three legendaries. I'm struggling to remember your name, but I'll remember it when I get there, I'm sure. I have a friend who Lugia is his favourite Pokemon, but for me, I like Lugia, but it ain't my favourite by any means in terms of the legendary flying Pokemon. It's a high B. A bit higher than Typhlosion, higher than Sudowoodo for sure. Like it a bit. Ooh, that is a really tough one. Is it better or worse than Suicune? Oh, I don't actually know. I don't really use either on a team, if I'm being honest. Plus, I had Pokemon Gold, so I don't really get Lugia anyway. It's less than Suicune, I guess. Ho-Oh, now, there we go. Very high S tier, if not God tier Pokemon. I really do like Ho-Oh. I would probably put Ho-Oh in God tier. Yeah, it's a really nice shiny as well. Probably the nicest shiny I've seen on a legendary Pokemon. I reckon I like this a lot more than Totodile, so I might have to bump you up to God tier. That is a really weird Pokemon to have in anyone's God tier. About there, I'd say I like Ho-Oh a bit more, but yeah, Azumarill's in God tier for me. And then Celebi, I believe you're called Celebi. very low mid. It's not the coolest. It's for the fact that it's like a rare or a legendary or a pseudo legendary or whatever this is called. It's just not cool. It's like there-ish. Okay, there we go. So the only two god tier Pokemon on this generation are Ho-Oh and Azumarill, and then my S tiers are Totodile, Houndoom, Murkrow, Marill, and Houndour, and then Entei and Chikorita at the top of A, and then we just go down from there. The only bargain bin Pokemon we have are Hoppip, Snowball, Hoppip Survival Form, and Smoochum. And then Dunsparce and whatever the other two are called. Looking back at this, I agree with pretty much all of this again. Obviously, I only give myself like 30 or so seconds to gut react to each one, but yeah, I'd say that is pretty much it for the Generation 2 tier list. A slightly shorter tier list than Generation 1, because they did bring a lot of the Generation 1 Pokemon back for Generation 2 anyway, along with the whole Generation 1 region to play. Not my favourite generation in terms of Pokemon, but one of my favourite, most nostalgic generations for playing through it as a whole. But yeah, apart from that, guys, that'll pretty much do it for the Generation 2 tier list. Stay tuned for Generations 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 onwards. One or two of the generations I have not really played, so those ones are going to be... I'm probably going to make the tier list on gut reactions, because a few of the Pokemon would have probably appeared in Shield and later games anyway. But I will most likely do an updated tier list whenever in the future I do eventually get around to playing those games. I can do a more updated tier list on how I feel about the Pokemon now that I know what they all are. But yes, after I finish the whole tier list series, I will probably do a few top 10s or tier lists on bigger Pokemon topics as a whole. Like, I'll do a top 10 my favourite Pokemon, or maybe just my favourite from each typing. But yeah, guys, apart from that, stay tuned to the channel for more anime hot take videos in the future. These Pokemon vids are based half on the games, half on the anime, so if there's an anime story of a bit I liked in the anime, that will factor into my decision. But I've not watched all of the Pokemon animes, but I have watched a lot of the old ones and a couple of the films as well, so I have seen most of the Pokemon, at least up until Generation 5 or 6 in the anime in some form. But apart from that, I'm currently working on a few bigger projects which are going on in the background. Not long videos, but more edited videos that I need to put a lot more time and effort into, with like scripts and not improvising the script like I do for these ones. So in between each tier list I upload, I'm chipping away slowly at one or two other uploads, so then after all these tier lists are done, I can have a few really good videos out on the channel of like actual mainline entries into the channel. These are kind of just like quick, easy videos I can get out there for more content and to get more of my opinions down on anime hotticks. But apart from that, give a like if you liked, subscribe if you want to see more tier lists and anime hot takes in the future. I do have a video cooking in the works at the minute. I have two actually. I've got one is a My Hero Academia fan theory, which is kind of what I think My Hero Academia should have been, and you only really need to tweak one or two specific things about the anime to get what I want out of the show. And if it was what I was picturing when I first went into it, which is what I assumed it was going to be, I would have liked the show 10 times more, and I think a lot of you would have as well. So stay tuned for that theory. And another video I only thought of the idea for the other night is a most underrated anime or a kind of hidden gems series. Because I don't watch anime like most people where you decide an anime that you think looks good beforehand and then watch it. I just add most animes that are on Crunchyroll to one big spin wheel and then spin them. So I think there's currently 40 or 50 anime. I just go to like the main, either the popular or front page of Crunchyroll, scroll around it, grab just random names and just toss them onto a spin wheel and spin. So there are some really popular ones on the spin wheel, like Momop's Psycho 100 and Jujutsu Kaisen and stuff like that, which I haven't watched yet, but they're on the spin wheel for whenever I land on it. But then there are loads of really random animes on there, which when I land on them on the spin wheel and start watching them, I start realizing I'm one of the only few that has, or like, I at least don't hear much talk about it. So that's what the series is going to be. Each episode will be tackling a different anime that I've seen that I don't really hear talked about much, if at all. The one I'm currently watching, I'm quite excited to make a video about. I doubt it'll get many views because I doubt anyone's searching it, but it is an anime I'm really enjoying currently. I don't know if it's going to go in the top 10, it might do, but I'm really enjoying the anime. It's just, I've asked a few of my anime friends who've watched hundreds more anime than me, who've been I've been watching anime since they were a kid, and they've seen hundreds more anime than me, and not a single one of them has even heard the name of this one, so I'm quite impressed. I found a very hidden anime here. But review scores for it are quite high. It's 4 point odd to 5 out of 10. I mean, it's 4.0 out of 5. An anime list, I think it's like a 7.6 out of 10, which is pretty good. Or like a 7.8, which is pretty high, considering it's an anime which literally no one seems to be talking about anyway. But I really like it, it's quite an original anime. But yes guys, that is it for this video. Stay tuned if you want to see those 2 videos, plus all the other generations of Pokemon, and more Pokemon videos in the future. Thank you all for watching.